Grammar lessons for magical writing with Professor Oyo. Don't forget to subscribe and also click the little notification bell so you know every time a video is uploaded. Hi, I'm Professor Oyo. Let's talk about commas and when to use them. What is a comma anyway? Well, a comma is a small but very important punctuation mark. It's a curly mark that looks like a hook and sits low on the line. Commas love to give letters hugs. Make sure your comma is always directly behind a letter. There should never be a space before a comma. You'll usually find commas where you naturally pause when you are speaking. Commas are used to make the sentence easier to understand. This is a comma. How is a comma used in a sentence? Let's take a look at the 7 main rules to use a comma. 1. List series. 2. Independent clauses. 3. Dependent and independent clauses. 4. Interrupters. 5. Introductory words. 6. Date. And 7. Location. Rule number 1. Using commas for lists and series. We use commas to separate lists and series in a sentence. You place the comma after each item in the list. Let's take a look at this example. All students are required to bring a cauldron, a telescope, and a wand. We add commas to separate the items on the list. All students are required to bring a cauldron, comma, a telescope, comma, and a wand. Rule number 2. Independent clauses. We use commas to combine independent clauses. Let's take a closer look at independent clauses and how to combine them with commas. An independent clause is a complete sentence that can stand on its own. Each independent clause must have a subject and a predicate. You use commas and conjunctions to combine them. These are the 7 conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. Using these 7 words in a sentence can connect independent clauses. Let's take a look at this example. Here are 2 independent clauses. 1. Luna is a Ravenclaw. 2. Luna cheers for Gryffindor at every Quidditch match. Here's how we combine these 2 independent clauses with a comma and conjunction. Luna is a Ravenclaw, comma, but she cheers for Gryffindor at every Quidditch match. Rule number 3. Dependent clauses and independent clauses. We use a comma to combine a dependent clause and an independent clause. Let's take a closer look at dependent clauses and independent clauses. As we discussed before, an independent clause is a complete sentence with a subject and a predicate. A dependent clause is not a complete sentence. It is dependent on the independent clause, meaning it doesn't make sense without the independent clause. We use a comma to combine the dependent clause and the independent clause. Let's take a look at this example. Here is a dependent clause and an independent clause. Before potions class, this is the dependent clause. I have to find my cauldron. This is the independent clause. Let's add the comma. Before potions class, comma, I have to find my cauldron. The comma puts the 2 clauses together into a sentence. Rule number 4. Interrupters. We use commas to add extra details to the sentence. Let's take a look at these 2 sentences. 1. Fred is older than me. 2. Fred, my twin brother, is older than me. With the first sentence, someone might ask, who is Fred? The second sentence gives us a little more detail and makes our writing more informative and easier to understand. Interrupters and appositives are added details inside of commas. Let's take a look at some more examples. Remember, you use the commas to separate the extra details. Peeves loves to prank students. Peeves, comma, the Hogwarts poltergeist, comma, loves to prank students. Hogwarts Castle has many ghosts. Hogwarts Castle, comma, where I go to magic school, comma, has many ghosts. Rule number 5, introductory words. We use commas to separate introductory words from the rest of the sentence. Let's look at some introductory words. Yes, basically, finally. When we speak, we naturally pause after introductory words. We place a comma after the introductory word. Let's look at some examples. Yes, comma, we should go to Hogsmeade tomorrow. Actually, comma, I don't think Professor Snape likes anyone. However, comma, you have to get past the dragon first. Rule number 6, dates. We use commas to separate the day of the week from the date and to separate the date from the year. Let's take a look at some examples. My appointment is Friday, comma, June 3rd. In this case, we put the comma after the day of the week to separate it from the date. The picture was taken January 20th, comma, 2022. In this case, we put the comma after the number of the day to separate it from the year. Without the comma, the numbers could be really hard to read. Rule number 7, location. We use commas to separate the city from the state and to separate the city from the country. Let's take a look at some examples. Brooklyn, comma, New York. In this example, we separate the city from the state. Rome, comma, Italy. In this example, we separate the city from the country. Now, this is a bonus tip. Use commas to make your meaning clear. Let's look at this sentence. Let's eat grandpa. What? You want to eat grandpa? Now, if you don't want people to think that you're trying to eat grandpa, you have to add a comma. Let's try it again. Let's eat, comma, grandpa. Now it sounds like you're telling grandpa it's time to eat. That's better, isn't it? Now, let's review when to use commas. 1, to separate lists and series. 2, to connect independent clauses. 3, to connect dependent and independent clauses. 4, to insert interrupters and a positive, which just means extra details. 5, after introductory words. 6, for dates. 7, for locations. And most importantly, 8, to save grandpa. We will talk more about commas in these upcoming videos, using quotation and numbers in writing. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you know when these new videos are uploaded. Congratulations! You are now an expert at using commas. I hope to see you for another grammar lesson soon. Don't forget, Professor Oyo offers comprehensive ELA classes for grades 3 and up, which include live online classes, on-demand video-based classes, and customized homeschool curriculums, and much more. Be sure to check out my signature program, Read and Write Like a Wizard, and discover the magic. To find out more about my programs, and most importantly, to register and sign up for my programs, please visit professoroyo.com. You can find me on Facebook at I'm Professor Oyo. You can find me on Instagram at Professor Oyo, and coming really soon, the Professor Oyo app on a platform near you.